Testing. Yo.
What's up? What's up, Mr. Handsome Gags? I'm going to record everything, and then I'll send it to you. You have a podcast, right?
Yes, sir.
So we'll do a duo podcast. What's your podcast called?
Powerlifting for the People.
Of course, like the book of Gags. And so I'll send you the video. It'll probably go through a Google Drive, and you want the audio as well, right?
Yeah, no audio would be, yeah, that'd be great.
All right, my bro. You ready to rock the house? A little recap and just talking life, talking about the first ever underground strength coach. Should be underground strength coach of the year, man of the year. I mean, we could go any way you want. All right, brother. Here we go. Record button. 3, 2, 1.
Recording in progress.
Welcome back to the Strong Life podcast. We are with Strong Island and Delaware's most handsome man and first ever underground strength coach of the year, Coach Gags, John Gaglione. Powerlifting for the People is not just his book, it's his podcast. And Gags, you are on the Strong Life podcast. Several hundred
Yeah,
episodes
several hundred.
ago. I'm on
yeah.
536. What episode are you on for powerlifting?
Yeah, I'm in the 500s as well. I was like, I was checking it actually the other day, and I was like, I probably should have done something special, but I've been just grinding, so I just.
We just go. We don't have celebrations.
No, it was just like I was like, oh, I'm like that's pretty good. I'm like didn't do anything for it. I was just like, whatever. But
yeah, some people do it. You know why? As I said at Underground Strength Con. Craig Ballantyne told me, I was like, man, I'm kind of, a couple years ago, I said to him, I'm kind of tired of posting all this content on Instagram and YouTube. He's like, Zach, even if there was no internet, you would not be able to stop yourself from sharing content. You'd be in a coffee shop telling people how to train. You would be, standing, you would hold court, outdoors somewhere telling people how to squat. And then, of course, made me think of you because Sunday morning, open weight room before Underground Strength Con. And I know the night before you said, hey, who wants to meet me? I'm going to floor press. And I walk in and I see Gags. You had people doing the strict curls. You were talking to Nikki and Andrew from Turnkey Coach. You were going around coaching while also training. And I was like, man, this guy can't shut it off. And I love it.
So funny. So it was first of all, it was awesome, and thank you for having me. And I definitely want to recap that workout because it definitely was eye-opening in terms of like my own performance and also just like the energy. So speaking of energy, so I want to just recap a little bit for the people that when I met Zach. Well, first of all, let me thank you so much for the award. It means a lot to be selected among over like 130 coaches from all over the country. It means a great deal for me. And like I said, not just powerlifting coach, because I know people don't know me as the powerlifting guy, strength coach, because I think that's what we've kind of lost what it means to coach. And I know in the powerlifting world specifically, there's a lot of people doing programs. There's a lot of people that call themselves coach, but I don't see a lot of coaching going on, but we'll get into that. But so 2010 we met. I remember I was emailing you back and forth. I was special education teacher at the time, and I don't know what I was just kind of trying to find my way. I just knew that I wanted to be a better coach. I knew I was like working with these wrestlers. I started to have a little bit of success in that, and I was just trying to be better. And I saw that you were developing these killers. Some were going to Rutgers, some were doing well. I remember guys like Scotty Winston and all these different people. I know it's just like
savage.
So anyways, I was just, and you happen to be pretty close, less than an hour and a half away. I know now now it's far, without traffic. So I remember I was just asking you some questions about how you train and stuff like that. And because I was starting to get more collegiate people. And I knew that it was one thing to be a state champion. It was one thing to do well in high school, but now you got the big boys. So I knew that you had a lot of success. And you were close by. And I remember you just said, hey man, it's if you want to learn, you got to come to the cert. So I remember,
Immerse yourself.
yeah, and I remember at the time I was like a super heavyweight powerlifter. I was not in very good shape, but I did all the hands-on stuff. It was a very hands-on seminar. We learned and we worked out. We learned and we worked out. And I think even that is like kind of I feel like people just don't want to. So going back to the seminar too, like I always jive with the people that are like doers and they lead. We always talk about living the code and leading by example. And I know like Coach House is getting like a little bit up there in age, and I just know that I see he's still doing competitions. He's still, because I was kind of feeling like we had talked about this when I came down to your I guess came up now to the lift strong.
Yes.
And I've been to quite a few of those over the years. I think maybe one of the maybe the inaugural, but when it was still Alan Cosgrove's.
First one was literally 3 weeks after I opened.
So probably the
second
one.
Summer of 2007.
Wow. But so, anyways, with the cert, I remember I started writing on articles online. I was writing for like Elite FTS, T Nation, and stuff like that. And I remember you just like were giving me some like compliments, and you could just tell that the effort was there. And then you had proposed the question like, is this something you want? Would you want to open up a gym? And it just never like was really a thought. I was always just like, I just didn't think like that. But then over time, we had a lot of conversations. And I was working for someone at the time, and no disrespect to him because it was a good opportunity, but it just, like when you're like in the wrong room and you can just tell the energy is just like it sucks the energy like from you.
I know it.
And I had to build my own thing because there was not like a strength gym in Long Island in our area. I know you had like Iron Island and stuff like that, but. Especially for athletes, for wrestlers specifically. So I opened up my own thing, and Vogar is very. So I don't know if you've been following his son at all. His son won a world. Vito won a world championship.
Yeah, I follow his son because my buddy Joe has Spartan Combat, and then of course Joe is tied to Cornell. But when you went into Vugar Honor Wrestling Club. I knew Vugar was a bronze medalist in the Olympics for Greco, but I didn't really know, his son was a baby essentially.
He was a child, yeah.
Right. So there was very tough kids coming from that club, but we didn't know the extent of what he would build. And also, what's interesting, Gags, just talking about it, is he was a bronze medalist in the Olympics and open-minded to you putting your business in his wrestling club. And then you could even think about, we try to help a football or wrestling or soccer or baseball coach or hockey coach with a losing record. And they say, no thanks, got it. But here is a bronze medalist in the Olympics.
Two-time world champion.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, you want to come and help wrestlers? I mean, the open-mindedness, it just shows you. And I think looking back then, we didn't really understand the magnitude of what we were doing, including me. A lot of people are like, oh, Zach, you were doing this very early. I just didn't grasp what we were actually doing. And then I was thinking about, man, Gags' first spot was inside an Olympians wrestling club. I mean, what else? And then it says how well it speaks to volumes about what you were doing and how he trusted you, and how, again, an Olympian, not just an Olympic qualifier, an Olympic place winner, two-time world champ says, yes, come do this.
Quick Vogar story, and then we'll kind of circle back to more current events. But so, you watch the Olympics, you watch high-level wrestling, collegiate wrestling. Do you remember the name Troy Nickerson from Cornell?
Oh, yeah. He's now at Army.
So Troy Nickerson, four-time All-American, national champion. So this was probably 2011. So Troy's doing a camp with Vogar, and Troy is trying to make a world team. So he's gonna go work out with Vogar. Vogar is like long retired at this point, right?
Yeah.
So they're wrestling live, and Vogar is like kicking his ass. And this is like an athlete who's in his prime. He's one of the most decorated wrestlers to come out of New York State. I believe he's a 5-time New York State champion, 4-time All-American.
Right, because they're allowed to compete in the high school states in 8th grade.
That's correct. So that was kind of something that was eye-opening, not just with wrestling, to see like there's levels to this, and there's always some other bad mofo who is a step above you, and it's like you could be humbled quick. I just like kind of I looked at Vogar and you know Vogar is like 130 pounds, like he's an older guy. I mean and he just like took this guy to town, and this is a guy who's in his prime. He's fresh off like a national title, and he took his lunch money. So I think that's something where because what I've kind of seeing in powerlifting and stuff, I think I'll just say because I think it's important. So we were just at so one of the reasons why I came late to Underground Strength Con is my wife and daughter were competing in the USAPL. They did great. They lifted well. As you know, sometimes things are out of our control. The judges, man, they were like 20-something-year-old kids, and they were like looking to red light our 10-year-old daughter, and they were just like looking for stuff to. And she did great, and she did awesome. She PR'd everything. She had all the state records, but like. And they were like, normally with judging, the way we teach our people is that if it's a state, this is like a local meet. Pull the lifter aside, be like, hey, let's say they didn't squat low enough. Hey, you got flagged for depth, just so you know. Here's how to fix it. Like that'd be a reasonable response, right? And I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I've coached in 11 different states. I've coached all-time record holders, American record holders. And so for me to be surprised about a call, like it's if I don't know like what the call was for, and they were just like nasty about it. There's like, and it's not all like young kids, but like I just feel like the entitlement, the lack of respect, the lack of like, I would have never talked to somebody who's, and again, not that I happen to be a very decorated coach in the sport of powerlifting, but I don't know.
I feel from you, Gags. When you talking about that and your passion for coaching, your love for coaching, which you would do, as I said, my buddy Craig Fitzgerald said, coaching is not our job. For many, it is their job. For us, it is our calling. And I've seen it in powerlifting, weightlifting. It probably happens in baseball, hockey, basketball, CrossFit, whatever is the event/sport. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of unprofessionalism.
Yep.
And that's what inspired me to bring back Underground Strength Con, is I felt almost heartbroken looking at the field, the world of strength and conditioning. Like, I'm going to try to get more likes and views on my videos. So I'm going to have a video of Coach Gags lifting or doing something, and I'm going to do I don't know what it's called, like when I'm talking
head or reaction. Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about how this is bad for his back and how he doesn't know how to train athletes because he's a power lifter. How about say, hey man, love what you're doing. I'm doing something totally different, but I think I see that you're doing something that could help me, and maybe I can help you. But if not, I bet we have a lot more common ground. We probably could have a civil discussion on business.
Yeah.
But everything is this like extreme and polarizing content and negativity. And that breaks my heart, because when I came up in my younger years and Ryan Lee held events, there was such a positive atmosphere and energy, and we all collaborated from it. Now I always see like the separation and the complaining and the negativity, and it's unprofessional. When you think about a coach, very much like a teacher or a police officer, policewomen, they take an oath, right? We don't have to take an oath, but I feel like there's an unspoken oath for us, Gags, which is just be a good person. You're supposed to, if you're coaching other people, you have to uphold that. And so I feel your heartbroken here. I feel that pain.
Well, so, one of the things that one of your kind of like sayings, mottos, whatever, live the code.
Yes.
Live the code. And to your point, we have a lot of people right now that are chirping in the comments section. We got a lot of people talking, but there's not a lot of action being taken. There's a lot, and that's the kind of thing that's the most disheartening. Whether it's powerlifting, strength and conditioning, people are like the first to call something out, like, oh, powerlifting is going to make bad for your back or whatever, or if you deadlift, you're not going to be able to like play with your grandkids, whatever the soundbite is, but. Mm-hmm. Well, what my biggest gripe with that, if you're going to offer some sort of criticism, you need to offer a solution. You need to offer, yes. So like if there is something you disagree with, can you do better? So in the powerlifting world, it's really there's a lot of complainers. So for example, like maybe a person doesn't like how a meet director does something, but have you ever run an event?
Yeah, right.
Well, it's like. Have you, and it's like, or like, they're complaining about some world record that was a high squat or whatever. It's like, well, why don't you train to, have you ever trained to take the judge's test? Have you ever volunteered at a meet? Have you ever, or this spotting and loading was incorrect, or this person made are you? So one of the things actually I'm the most proud of, I want a quick story. So the weekend before, I met up with AJ Roberts. He was so bummed about, we definitely got to get him on. We got to get him at the next one. But so I've been
texting with him a lot, but it's hard with him being in California.
So I'm gonna be doing an event in California in January. So we're gonna link up, which I'm excited. But nice. He was reffing at the WPO. So the he reffed the amateur day, and then he did commentating on the pro day. So
where was that guy?
So this was so cool. They did it. They changed the venue because it was at the Olympia for a long time. Back in the day, it was at the Arnold. They had a break, and then
I was there, 2007. I was there.
And but now for the foreseeable future, they're doing it at York Barbell inside the. Amazing. It was really cool, and if you've never been to York Barbell and you're like a strength enthusiast, that's like a bucket list thing. But so anyways, I haven't been to York Barbell in a while. I don't know if you remember that our team, little history lesson for the powerlifting guys, we spotted and loaded for the Westside Pro Invitational. It was 2 years running. The first Westside Pro Invitational,
did
Donnie Thompson was the meet director.
I remember all.
Dude, it was unbelievable. So he brought us in. We were, I need to like catch up with him, but we lost touch for a bit. But So at the time, Laura Phelps was still competing.
Nice.
Dave Hoff was like coming up. So the first year, Dave, this was like, you couldn't write this like in a movie. So Super D is, Mr. 3000, first man to total 3,000 pounds. That's a huge milestone, right? Breaks the barrier. But, as Donnie would say, the Hofster. Yes. So Dave is like on it. He's getting close. So at the Westside Pro, the first year, Dave breaks Donnie's record. I was one of the side spotters for that. So that was a pretty cool experience. So not only I was, doing pretty well for myself, so I got to spot an all-time world record. I was part of history, and it was at York Barbell. That was a cool moment. And then to what often gets overlooked, that same meet, Laura Phelps, she's chugging water before the weigh-in so she could make the 198s because she was too light. She weighed in at 182-ish. She benches a world record of 540 in the 190. So now she's a world record holder. Her best, she always would go 165 or 181, but now she's got an all-time record holder in a third weight class. Well, fast forward to next Westside Pro. She goes from 198, she sucks down to 148. She breaks all-time world record now in her fourth weight class. So I think Laura often gets kind of overlooked by like, the Chucks and the Hofsters and, the Dave Tates and stuff. But Laura, I mean, if you want to talk about women's powerlifting, I don't know if anyone's ever held 4 all-time records like simultaneously like that. And also in that time, I mean, and she's still like one of the best. There's been a couple that have kind of passed her like by formula and stuff, but and she's been doing the Cincinnati Pro-Am. But I mean, to be like kind of, and then a couple years later, I remember I was visiting at the it was a sweatshop, and they had the picture of her breaking the world record, and I saw her myself. It was just it was cool. But anyway, so like the only reason I bring that up is that I was never above doing any particular job. Spotting and loading is grunt work. It's
Oh yeah.
but like just because I'm like a good coach or whatever, or like Donnie needed us to do it, and we were part of history. And these kids, they don't want to give back. They don't want to do like the little local shows. They want the fireworks. They want the smoke screen. They want all the fancy stuff, and they kind of lose sight of like the lifting. They lose sight of like, what are we doing this for? And I think that like, I wonder if you couldn't like get the likes, if you couldn't get like the attention,
Would you still do this?
because I know like I don't know, because like I would still be like killing myself and I don't know. So anyways, I just a little story. It's a little story there. I think that like I saw just to kind of pull it full circle. I saw Coach Joe. Because I'm wired. I'm floor pressing this PR, and I'm getting all amped up. So going back to the weekend, and I see Joe is like there vacuuming the turf.
Riccio, yeah.
Yeah, he's just vacuuming the turf, and it's like
While probably holding a microphone. I mean,
he was. Yeah, he was.
Riccio.
But it's just like for sure. But it's just like so. Anyways, going back to that day, so Coach House mentioned to me that he was looking to maybe learn some things for strict curl. So, anyways, I happen to
compete.
He wants to once his shoulder is good. So, I happen to have a curl bar in my car, because like any normal person would
Just carrying it, or it's just here.
just always ready.
Oh, do you have a curl bar? I do, yeah.
So, anyways, I was just like, but anyways, I saw an opportunity to, and then like Nikki was interested, Andrew was interested.
I saw them. Somebody else was in the group.
And then it was one of my interns. Also, his name is Andrew, and my coach Hannah. So it just like turned into
Hannah. Yeah.
We turned into this thing where like now I finished my floor press, so my athlete hat is off, and I got fired up. Also, like I ended up hitting an all-time PR, which like you shouldn't like. I didn't have any sleep. I was tired. Like there was no reason that should have happened.
Right.
But it was just the energy, and then I'm like, I'm with Andrew, like he's a good friend, and it's like, and we didn't have calibrated plates. I didn't have a special barbell. I didn't have my, what I mean? Like I didn't have my special song.
I feel like that's what makes it special. Always the imperfection, in my opinion, is what makes it like. See, can you see my? I don't know what this is called. My background gags with Bill Peanuts West.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. I love that it's his garage. He's got the Zoovers plates, which are 50s.
Nice.
He's got jeans on, and I'm not sure what those are, like Ace bandages.
Yeah,
and they're just having fun. And then, of course, Strongest Shall Survive.
Bill Starr
was a circuit of strength training gags because they didn't have enough equipment, and so to serve the large group of athletes with minimal equipment, you were going around and doing that as a circuit. But I love when you said you picked up on Joe Riccio vacuuming. There's that book about the New Zealand All Blacks rugby team, and their rule is leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
And their other rule, I think, is no assholes, and nobody is above or below doing something. So they said you'll often find a coach. They call it sweep the sheds.
Sweep the
So
sheds.
if they have an away game, they clean the opposing team's locker, and you might see, a coach or a senior player who's got the most experience on the team. He is cleaning. And I also saw, I don't follow NFL enough or at all, but it was a pro football player, and he was getting interviewed, and he said, I'm going to tell you why we can't win a game. He's like, because on this team, we got grown-ass men that when they take the tape off their wrists and their fingers, they got a garbage can right there, but they can't walk over and put it in. They throw it. And if they miss it, they don't pick it up. And he's like, because of that, that's why we don't win. And you noticing this and making this commentary, people might say, so what? He's vacuuming. It's actually much deeper than that. And
it's
this
so
is
much
why
deeper.
I share this message a lot, or this lesson. And I used to like, CrossFit in the early days was really cool. I loved the community. I loved that it was like a sandbag, a kettlebell, and a barbell. And it was like a lot of 5x5. I don't like, it's just too crazy for me now. But anyway, Greg Glassman in 2010, maybe it was 09, I think it was 2010. I was in Miami for their affiliate gathering, and he was saying a lot of stuff. But the thing that hit me the most, Gags, is he said, let's say I go to your gym and you got these weights everywhere and this and that, and I see you coaching a clean, and maybe somebody's pulling more with the arms. He's like, that tells me it's just a work in progress. You're getting better at the technique, or the person you're coaching is going to get there. He's like, but let's say I walk into your bathroom and it just looks like a mess. It's a wreck. He said, that is fatal, because it means you don't give a shit. It's like, we can't fix that. And so anytime I'm in a bathroom, obviously, especially the bathroom at the Underground, I make sure it's clean. So do my coaches. It could take literally 30 seconds. Wipe the toilet seat down, wipe the sink, make sure the soap is filled up, make sure the garbage doesn't have a bunch of garbage sitting in it. Caring is so underrated, yet it is everything. And you know what? It shocks people, Gags, that Matt Wiedemer called me last night, and Matt, I knew, was very under the radar. Some people may have heard him on Table Talk.
Yeah, I know him through Stan and all those
there
people.
You go.
Yeah,
but a lot of gym owners don't really know him. He's just not like this big name guy. He's what I call under the radar.
Under the radar.
And he calls me last night. It was his birthday. I didn't know it was his birthday. He spoke on his birthday. He went out to eat with his fiance, and then on the way back, he calls me. He's like, dude. He's like, you are the nicest guy. He's like, I've known you. He's like, but I didn't know you. He's like, I haven't been around people that want everybody to win. He's like, the other thing that I really love, he's like, he said, he's like, I love how you want the sponsors to win, everybody there to win. You want the speakers to win. You're telling people to reach out to me, to consult with me. He's like, I don't think you get enough credit for what you do for the industry. And I hear it from guys like you. I hear it from guys like Matt. But most people don't know. But it goes back to what you said earlier about powerlifting, Gags, is that there's a lot of people that will complain. They will hate. They will try to create separation. They will almost like NIL themselves. Like, hey, this is the John Smith show, John Smith Powerlifting. For me, this is about who paved the way before us. How can we carry the torch, continue to carry the torch in honor of them? And how do we level each other up? Like, how does powerlifting how do we get less hatred of powerlifting, not just from outsiders, but from within? Well, the people within it.
Well, one thing that I've been trying to preach a lot of, and it's funny, it kind of comes full circle. Like, I love that you had the big photo of Louis. You walk with the lame, you develop a limp. I mean, it's just that one phrase just says so much. But I think that a lot of powerlifters nowadays, they don't know what Westside Barbell is. They don't know about Louis, and I think that like era. I think it in terms of training, not just powerlifting. In terms of training, Louis might have had more impact on training than any other single person. And I think one of the biggest things that I took from Louis was the team element, and especially from like something that's supposed to be an individual sport. So I don't remember if I told you the story or not. So I've been to Westside Barbell many times, but in 2017, I spent a full week there. I didn't do like the full, just, pack all my crap up and move there permanently. But I was like, at the time I had a couple of coaches working for me. Business was doing pretty good. I was like, I need to spend a little bit more time because I know he was getting old. He was getting older. He was still with it. So
Oh, you must have gone there right before COVID.
yeah, 2017. So yeah, it was right. Yeah, so like it was a couple years before things.
Oh yeah. Oh my bad. It was a little bit before. Yeah, it was like a year or two before.
And so there's a couple of things that were so a couple of things I noticed about Lou. So the team ate together. You go to Bob Evans. You get your breakfast. Everything is like breakfast at 6, training at 7. If whatever weight was on the bar, if you weren't ready, like just the plates didn't come off, right? It was very like regimented. But he always picked up the tab, like he would just pay for breakfast every time. But this was the kicker for me, and I think this is a really important story for just people in general. So. So the guy, he would always separate the women and the men. So the girls were training at 5 in the morning, and the guys would train at 7.
5 a.m.
The girls were training at 5 a.m. at the time for the.
Who was coaching them at 5 a.m.?
I think Lou. I don't remember. Tom might have been there. But so Louis was. It was a couple of girls. It was Melissa Stevens, Shanae. Shanae at the time, and this is really funny because Shanae actually is from New York originally. So Shanae, I have to ask Dan and Joe. So Shanae is on the Varsity House record board as an athlete, but then she moved. Anyway, it's just kind of interesting how. So Shanae at the time, I think she ended up doing powerlifting, but she was trying to make a bobsled team for Team USA. So they're doing like dynamic squats. They're doing like 5x5 for their speed work with like 315 at 5 in the morning. Boom, 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 boom with a safety bar. They're doing this crazy like deficit deadlift. Then we're kind of getting to the accessory work, and they're doing 45-degree back extensions. And I want to say that they were doing it with a kind of like a rounded upper back, so it was more like kind of glute emphasis kind of thing. But I see Louis like watching the form. He kind of takes a step back. He's looking at different angles, and he just asks me, "What do you think about that?" He's asking me what I think. And I kind of like my brain just like short circuited for a second because I'm here learning from him, but he wants to know what I think about it. And I don't even remember what I said, but I was just like, that was like such a light bulb moment for me that Louis Simmons asking me what I think. Yeah. And it was just like, he knew I was coach, whatever. And, he knew I was doing well and all this stuff, but like, I never felt like I was, like, bless you.
Sorry, Gags.
So I think that like we always talk about like the white belt mentality and stuff like that, and being open minded. Yes. You can learn from everybody, all these things. So that was something where if Louis can ask somebody what they think about something, and as far as training goes, that he was always learning. He was like very late into his life at that point. Probably, I want to say he was in his probably either late 60s or early 70s at that point.
Correct.
And he was always curious. He was always looking to like improve. It was just like, it was,
yes.
It never stopped. So I think that like, and then now you have like a 20-something-year-old kid who thinks that they know more about powerlifting judging than someone who's been in the sport for 20 years and coached all-time.
Well, there has to be
all this stuff. So
what was the organization again, Gags? That was is it USAPL? What was the organization?
It was USAPL.
All right. So I mean, listen, USAPL or any organization, you need to have kind of these tiers of like when you're judging at such a high level, that person should have like quote unquote certain belts, right? Don't throw a high school kid into the UFC. He's got to fight in amateur fights, and that's how all these things should be. So they have experience, not just, hey, I read the manual,
the rule book,
for example. Yeah, not just the rule book, but you've lived it. So when you lived something, you're able to kind of pick up on maybe discrepancies of arthropometrics, like different torso size and all those things.
Yes.
And you might see torso in a different position, but you're seeing where the hip crease and the knee bend is supposed to be. So those details matter. And also, Gags, I said this at Underground Strength Con, is learning today is sound bites. Oh, I watched this 30-second video. Like, look, even Gary Vaynerchuk says you should be posting like 10 shorts a day on YouTube. Forget marketing. What that means is people's attention is not long form video. It's 30-second clips. And then if I take that deeper, Brian Bott yesterday, you mentioned Laura Phelps. He's had Laura do their staff development quite a lot of times. And yesterday he got delayed for 12 hours or 10 hours. I think he got there at 12 and he took off at 12. So he was there for like 10 to 12 hours. He texted me, he's like, I reread the book of methods. Brian Bott, Sports Advantage, has 7 gyms, and he's still rereading. He's still learning. Then he sent me a podcast link. So the most successful people, they go deep. And then somebody had a younger coach came up to me. It was Tyler, the one who got like the most engaged coach at Rebel Strength and Fitness. And he said, where should I learn? I said, here's the thing, dude. I said, I gave you my book. Read it. I want you to go on my YouTube channel. Watch all the old videos. Some of them are very long.
Yeah.
Dig through them. And I said, the thing that your generation is missing, and I know this makes it sound, these old guys. When I learned training, he said, what resource would you use? I said, I would go back to exactly where I started. Elite FTS, Westside Barbell. And I printed all the Westside Barbell articles because I didn't want to just stare at a computer. But Gags, as you know, when you're reading those articles, they're long, your brain starts to turn. You're like, oh man, he's talking about these long distance sled drags. Then you start thinking, which powerlifter will I use this for? Which athlete will I use this for? Is this good for wrestlers? Yes, it is. When is it best for them? Deep off season, coming off of knee surgery, rehabilitation. You start thinking. But when you're on your phone scrolling every 5 to 30 seconds, there's no deep thought. And a great coach has experience and depth of thought.
Yeah. So one thing I like to tell people, if I'm doing a seminar, if I'm teaching a class, if I'm teaching doing an in-service or something. So I mentioned we had Hannah and Andrew, and Andrew just started last week, and I'm like, crap. So hat tip to Andrew if he listens to this. He's like a few days into his internship, and I'm like, can you come here on Sunday? He's like, what time? And he,
Love it.
So that's like, so I told him, but
like
anyway,
that kid Tyler, he was at the event Saturday. He competed in the Underground Strength Carnival. I saw him getting after it. Sunday morning, he coached at Rebel Strength, and then he had to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to the event.
Yeah.
Gags, most people would say, it's Sunday, day of rest for me. Dude, I remember training kids out of my backyard and garage, like Sunday at 12 noon, Sunday at 3 p.m., summertime, middle of the day, just because the dad would have a lunch break and he could drive his son to my house. At that time, I wasn't like, nope, I coached from 3 to 7. I was like, anytime, anywhere. I remember one dad said, I can't drive him to you. He was traveling for work. I said, I'm going to drive to your house. And I put a sled, put the kettlebells on top of the sled pole, and met him in his backyard. He was dragging sleds in circles, doing snatches, clean and press, squat. He was throwing kettlebells. And I remember being influenced by a phone call from Louie talking about training for time. So I remember saying, okay, a match is 6 minutes. Overtime is 7.5 to 8 minutes. We're going to go 8 minutes. Carry the sled for a lap. Clean and press 5. Squat 5. Throw it for 5. And then keep going. And so those ideas and that ability to be flexible in my training, very much listening to Louie. And, of course, I really loved his special strength training videos because they were kind of wild, these wild workouts. And so any successful person, we're talking about powerlifting, we're talking about being a strength coach, talking about being a business owner. If you want to find like a successful hair stylist or I don't know what the people that make your coffee,
barista,
they are heavily immersed in it. They've worked in all these places, and you saying like never be above. I used to love watching. I feel like, in the early 2000s, there was a lot of cool TV shows. And there's this one TV show I watched to learn business from. It was called Blowout. It was this hairdresser, hairstylist, whatever you call him. But he was like the world's most popular. He had salons. He had shampoo, conditioner. And I think a haircut from him was $500 or $1,000. It was always with like a Hollywood celeb. So one day he's like washing somebody's hair. And they're like, you don't normally do this. He's like, I know, but it brings me back to where I started. Like, the only thing I was allowed to do was wash people's hair. Or the video I showed, did you ever see that documentary, Gags? Jiro Dreams of Sushi?
No.
You missed Saturday. So
yeah,
you're going to get the recordings.
Okay.
So Saturday I showed 2 quick clips from 2 documentaries. One of them was the documentary. It's spelled Jiro, Jiro Dreams of Sushi. You saw that?
No, I'm saying, is it? Go ahead. I think I've heard. I think I might have heard about it, but I wasn't there for it.
I think he's still working. He's 100 or 102. At age, 80 something or 90 something, he was still the guy riding his bike to go to the fish market to pick out the fish for sushi. But when you want to work there for 6 months, you touch nothing. You're just sweeping the shed. And then 6 months in, you're allowed to wash seaweed. That's it. And then I could be getting the details wrong, but there was levels and steps to earning everything and respecting the craft. Like and that's why I said to coaches, it's okay if you stay on the floor. Just like a chef might stay on the floor and stay in the kitchen, you don't have to step out and say the only way I do this is by overseeing the management of the business. It's always important to have boots on the ground and still do the thing.
There was a brief period of time where I tried to remove myself from the floor, and that was short-lived. But sometimes, like, you're getting like, I think so. One of the I don't even know if you remember. So one of the, like, the early kind of business groups, masterminds. I want to say this is probably between like 2012 and 2013, maybe. You had to do an exercise. I don't know if you remember, the perfect day.
I knew you were going to say that. But I still come back to it.
So, man. So the idea of this, and this is like great exercise. Typical like weekday, whatever. What time do you wake up? What are you having for breakfast? What are you doing? When are you training? Where are you working? Who are you working with? When do you get home? And it was really interesting because what I like wrote down at some point, it came to fruition. And then you kind of, but then it's like, okay, well, maybe this wasn't exactly what I want. You refine a little bit more, and it's just really interesting. And now I kind of know how much in-person coaching I want to do, how much flexibility I want to have. So even it wasn't the easiest thing. And, now that, you have a wife, you have family, you have all these other things. I think one of the biggest advantages to just being like a business owner, whatever you want to call it, entrepreneur, is having that flexibility to, you create your perfect day and whatever that is for you. And for me, we always talk about the simple life, and
very much.
And I'm happy to eat, train, spend time with my family. I'm pretty good. That's a pretty good day. I don't need a lot of so, and other people might want to do fancy things, and one thing I'm really grateful with, we she loves to train too. Our whole family trains, so I think that's something where learning to be inclusive with your family and have them be involved in fitness. I know a lot of your kids are heavily involved in fitness and training and stuff. I think that
so good.
It's I can't imagine if some people if their spouse is oh you're at the gym, or I could never, that would never compute with.
I've had some of these conversations with other men, excuse me, and they say sometimes my wife is mad. I go, man, your wife has to get a hobby. And then she understands this is so important to you. My whole family knows that Monday through Friday morning, give her sometimes once a week. Maybe I take a Wednesday or Thursday off, but pretty much Monday through Friday, I'm going to the underground. They know that. And sometimes on the weekend, I'll do it. And if I'm not lifting on weekends, outdoors. I got to get to the beach. I got to walk. I got to ride my bike. And when you mentioned perfect day, I wish I could give credit and remember who said to do it. It could have been Tony Robbins. I don't remember. But I remember writing out perfect day, talking about riding my bike to my own gym, my gym being near a beach. And I was never looking to own a gym in Manasquan. In fact, I was looking at least 15, 20, 30 minutes north. It's still, I always say, it's probably not the best place to do what we do, but we're working, we're trying to build it. But that is it's a powerful exercise. It should be written often. I have this journal from Dave Tate. I love it. You got the hard way journal from Joe DeSena. Did we give you a journal?
It was in the goodie bag, or?
Shouldn't you got? So what did we get you? You're going to get an Ivanko curl bar. We got you a hoodie. Oh, I think the journals went to maybe the people that won the push-ups and all that stuff.
The contest. It was so fun.
You have to journal.
Yeah,
you
the
have to
journal is important. Yeah.
And let that imagination run wild. And also, it's like Brian Koppelman spoke, who's an actor, writer, movie. I think I always confuse director, producer. I don't use the terminology proper, but it was interesting. He said he writes not to appease everybody else. He's like, but it's in my soul. It's in my heart. I just put it out there. And I for me, lifting is in my soul. That's why I've never cared what I lift. I don't care if I'm lifting a bar, a dumbbell, a stone, anything. I love to lift because I love what strength does for life. And of course, I've seen your evolution, Gags, of very big power lifter, then getting more in tune with your health, then becoming a competitive bodybuilder, and always seeking out these challenges from within that are not for anybody else. They're for you, and I would assume a little bit for your family, but it's been really awesome to see like the power within you.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say the thing about like, you're kind of doing this for you. So there was a period of time where 2015-ish, like everything like powerlifting like had this explosive growth. You had guys like stand out with raw powerlifting. So I kind of felt like I needed to do some raw meets and stuff. And I did, I squatted like 705 and stuff like that in training. And, but for whatever reason, it just didn't like call to me like the West. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if it was because in the early 2000s, I grew up watching Chuck. He's the first guy to squat 1,000 pounds in 220 weight class. And I grew up, watching guys like that. I grew up watching guys like Matt Krozalewski. These guys were jacked, intense, and
yes.
I was kind of like a shy, more reserved kid growing up, and wrestling helped me a lot, training helped me a lot. But like watching those guys, like I felt like there was something inside of me that I could like unleash or unlock and I know for me personally, like going to the gym and training, it felt like I had control of myself, and I think that I started to like let other like public opinion kind of sway the competitions I was doing or how I was lifting.
Yeah.
And then I just was like, this is not like what I want to do. So I kind of,
even with business, you start the outside noise and then you start like listening to it and doing that. You're like, this ain't me.
So I threw my bench shirt on and like, floor press with the chains, like over 600 pounds. And it's like, it was a lot of fun and it was great. And I'm doing a bench only meet. And, but the other thing I wanted to talk about too, cause it's like one of those things where I think one of the things that you taught me early on was, when it comes to strength is like you said, like, you don't really discriminate the implement, right? I think with underground strength, it's like you're flipping tires, you're dragging sleds, you're using kettlebells, you're using barbells, you're doing powerlifting, you're doing weightlifting, you're doing kettlebell training. So I think that was good to have like this wide base of GPP, right? General physical preparedness, and also just be exposed to different stimulus. So I had a bunch of the guys like 2020, 21 started doing strict curl, and I'm thinking like,
Who inspired you to do that?
well,
The strict curl?
so at the time, like during the shutdown, a lot of us were like just looking for stuff to do, and strict curl was something you just need a wall. You know, it was like it was very accessible. So when things like reopened, one of the first contests we did, because you didn't need spotters, you could be like, you know, socially distanced, all this stuff. So we did an unsanctioned meet, and then we started to have a couple of guys start to do.
Who's we? Your gym?
Our gym, yeah, Gaglione Strength. We had
in Long Island.
We had an unsanctioned meet, so we set up a bar. We just went against the concrete wall and we just see who could curl the most. But then, like, what ended up happening was these organizations and more meets started popping up, and and people started to get competitive with it. And so I don't know. There's one of my old training partners. He's still doing really well. His name is John Archibald. He goes by he's the Panamanian Hulk. He's a big dude, and so he's all the way up to. He just hit the RPS record. He just curled 210 pounds. He's elite. He's one of the best in the country.
And it's always with a curl bar, right, Gags?
It's with a curl bar.
You know, you won an Ivanko curl bar. And I know Ivan sponsors a
Olympia
curl competition in California.
Yeah. So there's there's a couple. So they're one of the. There's the Gopher bar, and then there's the OBZ, which Ivanko. So those are like the two like most commonly used curl bars. But anyway, so we had a lot of lifters started to get proficient in it. You know, my wife's competing in it. Hannah actually is very good at it. They're both like doing over 100 pounds as females, which is very elite. But when I first like heard about it, I was like, I don't know if this is safe. I don't know if you should be lifting this heavy in a curl. Are you going to hurt your butt? So like, but how do you figure out if
sound like a nerd, Gags?
But how do you find out what's true? You got to do it. So
do the damn thing.
You got to do the damn thing. So I'm like, I don't know how to program for this. I don't know. So I was just like, I need to like put myself through a program myself. So I ended up really liking it, and it's like one of those things where it's like it's cool because now I feel like I'm like I'm a newbie again because it's I've only I've been doing it for a couple of years now. I'm actually gonna do a strict curl contest in Vermont, and now we have like RPS is like having strict curl. We're gonna have strict curl in Home Gym Con in Kentucky. We're gonna have strict curl contest in California. So we're really expanding, but. With the newer bars, like the Ivanko has the OBZ, and then there's the Gopher bar. You could be a little bit more pronated, so your biceps a little bit less exposed. It's a little bit more safe, and it's not the same as like grinding out like a heavy squat or deadlift, but it's still very satisfying. And it was really fun for me to figure out how to apply like conjugate principles to strict curls. So now I'm adding chain.
Cool.
I'm adding chains to the curl. I'm doing reverse band curls. I'm doing speed work with strict curl, and it works because it's the principles. You understand the principle. Cool. It's really cool. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's like our program works for another strength. And that's if you look at we'll look at Westside Barbell. Is it just powerlifting?
It's a lot of fighters.
Fighters, football, sprinters.
Right. Tom has said Louis really loved the fight game. He would have segued into training the fighters. In fact, they said that's what he always loved. I know you got to go soon, Gags, but you're talking about these workouts and doing things. So it reminds me, I think I did a 1-day underground strength coach cert. You came to the cert. I mean, you had done it multiple times. Then at the end of the workout, we did a training session. Back then, Jesse Burdick was programming for you, plus nutrition. And Dino from Black Widow Training Gear made me a thick grip Swiss bar.
Yes.
And I remember our workout was 20 sets of 2 reps.
Yep.
Push press plus pull-ups. 20 sets of 2. And I was like, oh, my God, this is awesome. But to me, I was like, look at Jesse, like flipping the script on what a training session should look like. And the other lesson there, again, is you did the certification. It was a hands-on cert. Then we trained after we had already trained all day. And it shows you what is capable. And actually yesterday, after Underground Strength Con, it inspired me, and I'm going to talk to Nate about this, is I was like, man, we got to do at least one certification a year. So the SSPC cert is a little different. There's more of the game speed, the speed training.
Right.
We teach cleans. There's a lot of jumping. It's like the advanced segment. So we'll probably do the Underground Strength Coach cert as a Friday and then a half day Saturday. So like Saturday morning, we train athletes. They have to train with us.
Yeah.
Friday, after we train the adults, they'll come in and then they will train. We have a 3:30 and 4:30 group. They'll train with the athletes in the afternoon. It's going to be a lot of hands-on training. So we're gonna do that. And maybe the title of this podcast for Powerlifting for the People and Strong Life is Do the Damn Thing.
Do the damn thing.
Yes. What? Anything else, Gags? You're the first ever. And by the way, this award was kind of a last-minute idea of mine. Yeah. I said, who are we gifting these Ivanko bars to? Well, last time we gave it to the up-and-coming strength coach, which was Samson. Samson was a coach at the Underground and an intern. We gave it to Matt Malillo. And I said, what's the second one? I don't remember what we did. I said, I think I want to do Underground Strength Coach of the Year. And when I saw you coaching Sunday morning and training, I said, that's it. That's our guy. I knew it. Mr. Handsome himself from now Delaware. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I think that for people like listening to this, and I think that's important that you're not just consuming this content, that you need to take action. So whether it's a podcast, whether it's a seminar, what's your top takeaway, and what's your next action? So I know, like for me, I'll throw this out there really quick. So I really resonated with Matt in particular. I actually didn't know how. I knew he was involved with Louis. I didn't realize he trained that. So anyways, so he was really speaking my language. I was almost we were so I was kind of finishing some of his sentences and stuff, and I'm just so we already we already connected. And then we'll close out. I know we both got to get back to our families and stuff, but so I'm going to be going to the Cincinnati Pro-Am to help some of my friends out. And
when is that, Gags?
It's April 11th and 12th.
Okay.
And then also there's a guy, his name is Victor. He owns a little gym. He helps at-risk youth, and he uses powerlifting and strict curl.
What's the gym called?
It's called Cincinnati Strict Curl. So
what's the gym? The name of his gym?
That's the name of his gym. So.
Oh wow!
Yep, he loves the strict curl. But anyways, I connected with him with Matt, and then because Matt's all about competing, whatever. So we're going to do a clinic. This is in the works, but we're going to do a clinic. I'm instead of doing the clinic we're going to move it over to Matt's gym, and then I think Matt's going to host. We're going to host some RPS events at his gym, and it's all because we're because I'm going to fly out to Ohio anyway. And so
what's
that
the date again, Gags? April 11th and 12th?
So April 11th and 12th is the Cincinnati Pro-Am. And then on Friday night, April 10th, I think we're going to do, we have to it's going to happen. It's going to happen because, but we're going to do
take notes, but
we're going to do a strict curl clinic with Matt. So.
Okay. When this is going to go on your website, this will go on my website, but as it unfolds, people might be listening to this not just in November, but
right,
months from now. You'll send me the link so I could update the blog post with this. Okay,
absolutely. So I think the main thing is I think we're starving for this stuff because we haven't had it. It's not. I don't want to go to some to some. I don't need to say an organ, some state clinic where you have some jabroni who's not I want to learn from people who are actually doing the thing. I want to get my hands on the barbell. I want to train with I want to do their I want to physically do their program. So anyways, so that's why, Matt was just yeah, sign me up. Let's do it. It's just, there's no there wasn't like, what's the next step? Like, there was no like, maybe, I don't know. So anyways, I think that like taking action, just do the thing, like you said. So I think we'll, that's just really it. You got to you got to do the thing. You got to do the thing. So
And
I think
look how
that's,
you've kept doing the damn thing. So it doesn't seem like everything to me seems like yesterday, but
yeah.
you and I met 2010, maybe it was at least '09. We were talking.
We were talking before then. I think we did. Yep. I think I did this maybe the CERT in like 2010.
And do you remember the wrestling strength clinic up at Binghamton? Do you remember that? So when we did that, you posted photos. There was like a Long Island wrestling strength that you would write on.
Yep. I had like 70 articles on there. Yeah.
Back then, I don't know if you were with me at the wrestle-offs, but Nick Wiskowski, who was an Olympian, was wrestling off for heavyweight as a freshman.
Yeah, and he's like,
Binghamton. That's how long ago it was. So we've really been able to see 15 years goes fast. In 15 years, I will be 65. You know, and so I hope everybody also understands that this whole life thing goes crazy fast.
Yeah.
And why not do it in collaboration? Why not lift others up? Why not help people win? Why waste any ounce of negativity on the internet? And I get it. There's always going to be negative people. There'll always be haters. But Underground Strength Con wants nothing to do with that or them. And, seeing you there speaking, sharing wisdom, coaching, lifting, showing up Sunday, man, the best, Gags. You're the best. You're a great dude. Not just lifting stuff, but like life and just as a man, as a dad, husband, you're the man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And just kind of circle back to like, I was like kind of, I'm like stuffing my face with a bagel because we don't have good bagels and then it's like, and John Gaglione.
I didn't get a bagel yesterday.
So before the floor press workout, I got to a place that like just opened, so they were like warm and they like just came out of the oven. Oh my god! So that's what
serious.
That's what I attribute the floor press PR.
You got good gluten carb pump beforehand. Yeah, I didn't have a bagel, and I'm not mentioning his names. His name rhymes with Big House Power. He told me he had 3 bagels. I was like, damn boy. He's like, son, they don't got good bagels down in North Carolina.
Yep.
People miss the pizza and the bagels. Yeah. One thing we said is nobody complained about the food. We had great food. You missed Saturday, which was like barbecue type food. It was crazy. So I hope next year, or actually the next time, guys, is March 2027. So we're at a year and a half from now is Underground Strength Con number 4. So it's going to be a while.
Cool.
Crazy, right? Very cool. All right, brother. Hang tight so I could do a proper goodbye. What's your website, Gags? And then I'll share my website.
Yeah, you can follow me on all the socials at Gaglione Strength and GaglioneStrength.com.
Good. So for everybody listening, we mentioned Underground Strength Con. Keep an eye on that, undergroundstrengthcon.com. But the certifications, we have 2 of them, undergroundstrengthcert.com, sspcoach.com. That's Strength and Sports Performance Coach. I'll link all that up. And then ZachStrength.com has the free training courses. And Gags' podcast, this is going to be a duo. So Strong Life and Powerlifting for the People. Gags, please hang tight. And everybody, thank you for listening. You're the best. And if I don't